Hey everyone, welcome back to Two and a Half Beards. I'm Christopher. It's Monday, and I'm too hot to handle, too cold to hold. So, Curtin Davis, I really liked both of your videos last week. Uh, both of them talked about sort of the same thing. They were talking about empathy, about stepping into someone else's shoes. In both cases, it was through a narrative. It was through a story of that person's life. With Davis, it was listening to the actual story as both an act of empathy and a way of producing it. And with Kurt's, it was an imaginary narrative that didn't really matter if it was factual or not, but you could imagine this story happening to this person and therefore empathize with them. Of course, I'm a grad student, so everything comes back to what I'm studying, and literature. So one of the issues facing the study of literature and really the humanities in general is this idea that they're not useful, that in some utilitarian sense they're not worth it. And of course the people holding the purse strings at the top need to be told why it's useful. Well, there was a study done fairly recently, link in the doobly-doo, about how literature has this ability to produce empathy. It teaches you to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and in that way becomes very, very valuable. Now, a lot of the things that I tell my students and a lot of the reasons why I'm here is not this belief in literature producing empathy. It's an idea of skills. Reading and writing are both skills that no matter what you have to do, you're going to need to know how to do it. But that is unsatisfying for people that are asking why we're reading what we're reading, rather than just reading in general. Why can't we just read BuzzFeed or Twitter for a couple hours a day and get the same effect? We can think about what they're writing. We can think about how the words are put together. We get into the practice of reading. We can write back. So in that way, those skills are practiced anyway. So why literature? Why think about the very specific stuff that we're reading? Why write about it? Why really get critical about all of this? Now you can argue that critical thinking in general is a very good skill to have, and it is. But that still doesn't answer the question of why literature. Because critical thinking, you can go into the sciences, you can go into math, you can play with the computer, you can read the internet, whatever you want to do, and critical thinking can be something that you practice there. Literature doesn't necessarily improve upon that practice in any way, as opposed to any other study. So why is literature important? And it comes back to this empathy thing. That is why literature, specifically literature, becomes important, is this idea of you are temporarily putting yourself in a situation where you might normally not find yourself, with people you might not normally find yourself with, and in putting yourself in the book, in the novel, in the literature, you become a slightly different person. Now, I like to think of this as queering your paradigm, queering your worldview. You have to step into somebody else's shoes and see things from their perspective, at least a little bit, whenever you're reading literature. And in that way, you automatically empathize with them, even if you really don't want to. I was just reading Disgrace by J.M. Coetzee, and the main character, David Lurie, is a terrible person. He is a terrible person. There's almost no redeeming qualities to him. But you automatically empathize, and part of what Coetzee does in this book is make you really hate that you're empathizing with this person who is a terrible, terrible person. It's really, really painful to read, especially when the literature is doing its job and making you empathize with this main character. Empathy, it's a good thing. Let's do more of it. I'll see you on Wednesday.